DM for the yute them. Direct message for all the youth. We're talking cognitive biases, thinking, ways of thinking that's a little biased, skewed. Number one, confirmation bias. I know some of these terms may be new to you all, but trust me, you've done it before. Confirmation bias. That's where you pay attention to only information that reinforces what you already know. Let me kind of break it down for you. It's like you won't listen to the opposite side. All you want to hear is what you believe. Like that's like on social media, you only follow people that wear the same side of skirts like you do, the same kind of style. When you're hanging out, you only hang around with people that believe the same thing that you do. It's kind of like an echo chamber. That's a confirmation bias. And you tend to only want to hear one side of the story. Your body, you can't handle it. You can't handle the truth. You're listening to prove that you are right at all times. And it's just a way to really protect your ego, to make sure you feel that you're always right. You can't be around anyone that disagrees with you. You can't have any thought that disagree with you. And when somebody is saying something, you're only listening for the things that you believe in. You're unable to hear any other perspective. That's a confirmation bias. Number two, hindsight bias. I knew it all along. You've said that before. I knew it all along. It's like you're looking back and you're overestimating your abilities. Something happens and you say, "Oh, I knew that was going to happen." Did you really? Did you really? And what it ends up doing for you is that you end up feeling that you're always right. If you do that all the time, for example, let's see, somebody, oh yeah, here it goes. Somebody has a girlfriend or a boyfriend and you didn't really like the guy that they were dating to begin with, and he ends up cheating on her, and you're like, I knew it all the time. What did you know? You didn't know that person. You were making up in your mind. You've decided this, and because it happened, you all of a sudden say, oh, I knew it was going to happen all the time. All of a sudden, you begin to think that, oh, you have some fortune-telling ability, and instead of trusting facts and data, you begin to just put yourself out there thinking that you know the future. That's a hindsight bias. I knew it all along. Number three. And of course, y'all know, in the interest of time, we're giving the high level view of all of these. You can take some time to go dig it up and learn more about biases. We all have them. I told you there's 180 of them. And let's see which one is yours. As we're talking, let me know in the comments section, which one do you tend to use all the time? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a confirmation bias kind of girl. But like I said, number three, anchoring bias. The first information you get, that's it. You can't get anything else in you after that. You can't consider any other choices. That is the anchoring bias. You're stuck. You're right there. If somebody is going to tell you anything, they need to give it to you in that one sentence, because after that, you don't want to hear anything else. If they're going to tell you that I'll be back tomorrow, so for example, let's see, I'll be back tomorrow or maybe after work, all you hear is I'll be back tomorrow. And if they don't show up tomorrow, you mad. You mad. You're anchored on what was said and what didn't listen to the entirety of the conversation. You were stuck. That's the anchoring bias. Number four, misinformation bias. That misinformation bias. You're influenced by information. It's, let me see. You know what? Let me get back to that one because honestly, my brain, I don't know what's happened to my brain. It's just like spazzed out on that one. Let's go on. And I'm gonna come back to that misinformation bias for you. I promise. See what happened? This is live TV. What happens in live? I wrote it all down here and my brain just spazzed on us. Number 5. Actor observer bias. Now this one, it's things that actions, anything that happens to you, any action is fine, you blame it on external things. Okay, if you fail your test, it's the teacher's fault. But if it happens to somebody else, if they fail their test, it's because they ain't study. They weren't paying attention. So that's the actor observer bias. You've done that before. For you, it's fine. You can have all the excuses in the world. It's because, I didn't sleep well, because this and that and the third. Anybody else come with an excuse, though. Now you're ready to let them know how they did wrong. That's the actor observer bias. 180. We're not going to go through all 180. Number 6. Should this be number 5 since we kind of messed up on the misinformation bias? No, it'll be number 6. Number 6. False consensus effect. Thinking that everybody sees the thing the same way you do. Have you done that before? You just you pop up on a bunch of people and start spewing everything that you think about, and you just assume that everybody there is thinking the same exact way that you do. You overvalue your opinion, and that makes you not even open to seeing what other people are coming from. Some of these biases, you can see that there's some relation, some overlap in them. But that's the false consensus bias. Just assume that your opinion is the opinion of the majority. And the truth is, because oftentimes we end up living in these small little echo chambers, these small little communities, and we choose people that believe the same exact thing we do, we don't realize that, hey, it's just me and my people that's thinking this. The whole rest of the world is going a whole nother direction. Think about it. Do you use false consensus bias? As we're going through them, let me know which one is you. Let me know in the comment section. Halo effect. Halo effect. That means if they're pretty, that means they're right. That means they're smart, they're funny. If there's some initial attraction to what the person is saying, that overshadows anything. It's almost like it's impossible for this person to ever say anything wrong or bad or do anything bad just because there was some initial attraction. You've done that before. Your crush, you know good and well that boy is up to no good. You know it. But you will make all kind of excuses for that boy because he's your crush. You've added the halo effect to your way of thinking. That happens all the time. Throw out some of the examples for me where you have used the halo effect. All right. Number 8. Self-serving bias. You give yourself credit for all the successes, but anytime you fail, it's somebody else's fault. Now this one's an interesting bias, right? You blame everybody else for your shortcomings. And so that prevents you really from interacting with people. You're having good conversation. Somebody is trying to point out something about you that maybe, you could step up on. Instead of accepting it, instead of really taking an opportunity to look inward, no, it's somebody else's fault. You blame everyone for your shortcomings. You're not able to look internally. That's a bias. That's a pretty common bias that's out there. I told you we're going over the more common ones. Number 9. This one has an interesting name, the availability heuristic. Availability heuristic. Basically, this is one where you just make the assumption based on what comes to mind. All the examples that could possibly come to mind. Let me throw the example. We'll just do like a high school. Everybody that, oh, you don't go to that high school. That high school's bad. You know, like 2 people that's ever been to that high school, and those 2 people didn't have a good experience. So all of a sudden, the high school is horrible because those 2 people. You had no opportunity to talk to all them other countless graduates, thousands of people that graduated from the school that love the school. They buy t-shirts, they wear it, they follow their school on Instagram, they're showing up at events. But because of the availability heuristic, you feel that your sample size, the amount of people that's told you it's bad, that is the fact, that is the God honest truth, and you will not change your mind based on what you know. That's the availability heuristic. Number 10, the optimism bias. That's me. I am an optimist from here through and through. Basically, you just assume that everything's going to work out well. You make the assumption, you go into everything that it's going to work out well. Now, the truth is, it's a bias and it's not altogether horrible. It's not altogether horrible. You do end up with a little rose-colored glasses situation, and then, sometimes if things disappoint you, then So with these biases, it's really trying to train your brain to really look at life, look at conversations, look at interactions in a non-distorted way, seeing reality for what it is. And the truth is, it's not as easy as you think it could be. It really isn't, because we all have biases. The point of it is just to point it out, throw it out there to you, so you understand that there are flaws in how a lot of us tend to think that we just need to be aware of. I'm gonna go back and see if I can get this this misinformation bias right. All right, let me see. Let me see. Influenced by information right after the event. Oh, yeah. Okay. I got it now. Okay. Can we go back to number 4? We're going to go back to number 4. Number 4. Which one to do over? This misinformation bias. So this is what happened. This is a thing with our memory. It's really understood that our memory can be influenced. For example, you see an event right then and there. You said, oh, she had on a black dress, and that's exactly who she is. Then somebody comes on later on, and you may notice their red lipstick. Then tomorrow, when somebody's asking you about the information, you're like, oh, she had on a red dress. You see, our memories can be muddled by information that we get shortly after the event. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You can be influenced by information that you get right after event. I'm not saying you don't trust your memory. Understand that your memory can be influenced. That's the misinformation effect. And I'm so glad I got it right, because that's important. So many times we're like, I saw her, I know he did it. And what you're remembering is something else somebody said. All these biases. All right, well, just go look them up. Familiarize yourself with them. There's so much more. There's the status quo bias. There's one called apophenia. There's framing. All these things. Understand that there are ways that we think that can mess up our interaction with others, and just learn to, We learn to think better. We're here, wisdom teethingers. Get your mind right and your body tight. That's what we're trying to do here. All right.